From the studios of Books in Motion, this is Rebecca Rogers reading The Senator's Other Daughter by Stephen Bly. Now, let's begin with Chapter 1. Lordsburg, New Mexico Territory, 1884.
Lady, do I look like a servant?
Unwashed, sandy blonde hair curled out from under the man's dirty gray felt hat. Grace tried to brush the dust off the cuffs of her striped tennis cloth blazer. "I merely asked if you would help me load my trunk." "I am tired. My voice is starting to sound whiny. You are a long way from Iowa, Miss Denison, and a long, long way from Washington, D.C., which is a comforting thought." An explosion caused her to flinch and grab the man's dirty brown sleeve. With round brown eyes, he glanced down at her hand, which she immediately jerked back. "Excuse me, I was startled," she mumbled. "I have no idea on earth why I would grab this man, or why I now have the urge to slug him." Grace refused to look at him. She knew he was staring at her from head to toe. Why can't a man casually glance, like a woman does? I feel like a jar of pickles on the shelf.
"It's just a gunshot, ma'am. After all, it's Saturday afternoon. Sounds like 2 or 3 blocks away. Just the boys having fun. Nothing to go clutching onto someone about."
She thought the tone of his voice showed concern, even if his words didn't. Grace Denison flipped her tawny bangs off her smooth white forehead, and then stared at the 2-story brick building on Railroad Avenue. There was an aroma of railroad engine steam and fried meat in the air. She couldn't decide if it smelled sweet or sickening. "Yes, well, if you'd just get the green trunk and—" The front left pocket of his denim trousers was ripped at the corner. She fought the urge to point it out. He rubbed the light brown stubble of a 3-day beard.
"You want me to carry it from the platform to that hack over there?"
He motioned to a tattered black leather carriage, whose driver was sprawled out across the seat, straw hat over his eyes.
"Why don't you just ask the hack driver?"
It was warm enough that Grace wanted to pull off her beige linen gloves, but each time she reached for them, she hesitated. "I asked him, and he said he was not allowed to leave his team unattended. Anyway, I think that was what he said. He speaks quite broken English." The tall man seemed to be inspecting the tiny flowered embroidery on the collar of her jacket.
"Well, then, you should wait for your husband to help you."
She ground her teeth. What had seemed like a pleasant day now began to warm. "I must say, Lord, this is not the initial greeting I'd expected in New Mexico. Whether or not I have a husband, and whether he is here, and whether I want him to carry the trunk, is none of your business." There was no whine in her voice this time. 2 more explosions sounded from the south side of the railroad tracks. This time she simply clutched her hands together. Several people meandered out of the railroad station and stared to the south. A short, gray-haired man with a moon face scratched the top of his head and shouted,
"Colt, you figure that's old Joe Haddington hurrahing things up?"
The tall man nodded.
"Yep, sounds like a couple of blocks away,"
he called to the man.
"Ain't nothing to worry about, boys. I reckon he's trying to collect on a bet."
The passengers returned to the depot. Grace peered across the street at the 2 stunted, wind-blown poplar trees that leaned a little east, as did the 1-story wood-framed bank building behind them. She noticed that those on the boardwalk ignored the gunshots. She was surprised that no one was scurrying for cover. Resigned, she scanned the train platform. "Mr. Colt, I simply need help with that trunk. It's too heavy for me. I'm not commanding you. I did offer to pay you."
Sample complete. Ready to continue?